another pitch meeting video. Now, I know this is a little bit different considering you're seeing gameplay, but I'm still experimenting with this stuff and I want to kind of see what works. So let's go ahead and get down to something that JohnnyBoy11 actually shared me, which is an idea that actually was kind of interesting. That being, what would happen if Hotel Moscow, as well as maybe one other couple, showed up in Remnant? Now, before I continue, a little bit of context. Hotel Moscow is a Russian mafia organization, but is mostly famous in the anime Black Lagoon, and is basically known primarily for its Rowanapur branch, led by the titular Balalaika, who is, of course, ex-Russian airborne, or, more precisely, VDV. And she actually has a lot of people under her. She is an ex-captain, and, of course, has not just VDV under her belt, but also ex-Spetsnaz as well. And these people are very loyal to her. I'm talking her entire unit, which, when counted for, at about 19 members. And again, that's just the known members. That's not including the ones we see in the anime or the manga, which shows to be about the same size as her entire unit from the Soviet-Afghan War, if not more recruited from former Russian military. So, it kind of is interesting, to say the least. Now, here's the thing. The way it's presented is that Balalaika, this lovely, deadly woman herself, basically dies thanks to a CIA operation. A CIA operation that basically says, oh, we don't need her controlling Rowanapur, we can do a good job itself, and basically wipes her out. At which point in time, she's basically, and I'm not joking on this, this is actual talk, so please, don't, oh boy, is literally confronted by Perun. I may have butchered that name, but basically the Slavic war god. Or, be exact, Perun is basically the god of lightning and thunder, as well as for war, patron of the Druzani, basically Slavic people. And literally tells her, in no short term, hey, these two Skolviches basically fucked up, literally fucked up on this one planet that was supposed to be theirs. This planet no longer has any gods to basically keep the balance, or anyone really to keep balance. So I'm going to send you there, as well as your men, de-aged, mind you, to basically go help out, or basically go and kind of do your thing. Balalaika, who at this point in time has basically been a Soviet, or at least ex-Soviet now, and literally had no idea, basically, the fact that gods were real, is like, oh, gods are real. Well, that's interesting. And literally goes into Remnant. Now, the big thing about that is she literally goes into Remnant now, in my opinion, this is what he could do, what Johnny could do, is he could basically have it to where she goes in a few years prior to the events of Volume 1. Like, say, around the events where the White Fang are just now starting with their protest, and Blake is still a young child, more or less, or before Blake is even born. In doing so, basically, they could literally have it to where Balalaika comes in and just sets up shop and creates a legend for herself, where her men literally affect the different elements of Remnant, and in a sense could actually help the Faunus revolution, or at least in this case, all the protests and stuff that actually lead to another revolution, where the Faunus, instead of being kind of trapped in menagerie, are actually given a proper chunk of land through their fighting. And in terms of a political setup that Johnny could do with the Faunus, Balalaika, being someone who has seen what has happened with the Soviet Union and literally knew that communism would fail, decided to basically kind of give them the same sort of political structure as, say, Poland or Hungary, more or less, in the sense of those two were actually the only quote-unquote stable former Soviet bloc states that actually seceded from the Soviet Union, and were somewhat successful. So in a weird way, she could basically help them create that sort of pseudo-socialistic type state, while at the same time also introducing, of course, one of the greatest creations the Soviet Union ever created outside of vodka and suicidal authors. That being, of course, the Kalashnikov.
Of all the weapons in the vast Soviet arsenal, nothing was more profitable than Automat Kalashnikova, model of 1947, more commonly known as the AK-47 or Kalashnikov. It's the world's most popular assault rifle, a weapon all fighters love. An elegantly simple 9-pound amalgamation of forged steel and plywood. It doesn't break, jam, or overheat. It will shoot whether it's covered in mud or filled with sand. It's so easy, even a child can use it, and they do. The Soviets put the gun on a coin. Mozambique put it on their flag. Since the end of the Cold War, the Kalashnikov has become the Russian people's greatest export. After that comes vodka, caviar, and suicidal novelists.
Yes, Mr. Cage. Yes, the AK-47. And literally start producing that in Remnant. And literally start just putting this all out there, basically, and kind of digging her fingers, her claws into every aspect of Remnant's underworld, while also destabilizing certain things here and there. Another good example would basically be Vakio, the desert nation that is a little bit more stable than the Middle East, but not by much. She could basically roll in there, create a puppet government that actually helps unite the regions and control that state. Another good example would basically be, of course, the city under Atlas, quote-unquote, Mantle, or Old Mantle, whichever one you would go with, where she could actually, again, try and incite a civil war, because the war is profitable. She's seen that. She knows that. So having Atlas fight itself would be profitable in its own right, while she and her men, through their own dealings, actually become a proper fighting force for Remnant and actually are seen as the quote-unquote good guys, or at least a myth of sorts. The White Fang, going back to the Faunus, the White Fang she could actually restructure, instead of it being like a terrorist organization that we see in the show, or kind of similar to the Mujahideen, or any other Middle Eastern terrorist organization, really. She could actually restructure it to where it's basically a paramilitary organization, or even the proper military of, say, the Faunus Nation, or or whatever basically type People's Republic it's created after basically getting a lot of land, either in Mistral, or more or less more of the menagerie. The other thing would be her actually setting up a nice little economic underground hub in Vale. Again, she's basically spreading out all over Remnant and is gaining control. Now, she did not come in alone, essentially, but that's going to be down the line. Now, let's go ahead and fast forward to Volume 1. There is a whisper in the criminal underground about, of course, the Tzarina of crime. This powerful, enigmatic woman who has literally her own private military, a massive grip on the entire underworld, the entire underground, just has everything in iron grip. And literally no one can stop her. Or in a sense, no one is dumb enough to stop her, because the last folks who tried, which were the spiders, sadly were wiped out and were absorbed into her organization. Or at least what was left of them were absorbed into her organization. The others, such as Junior and the rest, more or less are smart enough to know you don't mess with Balalaika, and you give her her dues. Sadly, one young girl does not. Once again, nice little element and nice little idea from Johnny Boy 11. Johnny Boy 11 more or less had it to where Yang Xiaolong sadly did not catch the memo and decided to fuck around and find out with Balalaika by coming in and actually destroying, or at least messing up Junior's bar like we saw in the yellow trailer. This led to her actually getting a face-to-face meeting with Balalaika and her telling her that she basically ruined one of her establishments. And to pay her back, she works for her now. And it's either that, or she gets a bullet put in her. And because Yang is smart enough to know, yes, her attitude has gotten her in trouble, and apparently has gotten her into real trouble really quickly at this point, she decides to work with Balalaika and not tell her sister Ruby. It is until now, a little bit later, that Volume 1 does happen, and Blake, who is the daughter of the leadership of this Faunus nation, is being watched by Balalaika's men because, well, Blake decided to basically run away. Not informing her parents, and definitely not informing her bodyguards that were assigned to protect her growing up, because, you know, she is kind of a politician's kid. The other thing, of course, that kind of leads to this, or at least leads to a nice little fun element, is when we actually get to the dock section. When it comes to the dock section, and Roman Tochrik does show up, instead of course, you know, having the Faunus that he usually does, he has, of course, some gangsters with him. It isn't until that his party is crashed, not by Ruby and the team, not by Blake and them, although Blake is there to basically spy on it and figure out what Roman is doing. No, Roman is actually kind of caught by Balalaika, who is very upset at the fact of what Roman is doing and the fact that it's literally attracting attention to her operation and her operations that she does not want. So, essentially, she gives him the same choice she gave to Yang. Either work for her or get a bullet in the head. And Roman, being Roman, as we all know, who is very much so self-reliant, or at least someone who actually has very strong preservation instincts, decides to work for her because, once again, he doesn't want to die. And he knows that she is a lot more scary than Cinder ever could be. So he decides to work with her to live. And this leads to, of course, one of the dumbest goddamn decisions that Cinder ever does. Because, and this is where it gets a little fun, basically, Cinder, after it's found out that Roman basically has quote-unquote disappeared, finds out about a lovely little millionaire, a plantation owner in, you know what I'm about to say, you know exactly what's about to happen. So, basically, what happens is that Cinder decides to send Mercury Black and our mint chocolate girl to go and kidnap a plantation owner no older than 16, mind you, named Garcia Fernando Lovelace.
2 kids gone die tonight!
From Mistral, who is a very loud proponent of Faunus rights, and goes to and has a lot of money, and you know exactly what's about to happen. So basically, they bring him, Merc and the other girl decides to bring Garcia to, of course, Vale, and they think, oh, we are not being followed. Wrong! They are followed by a bloodhound Faunus. A bloodhound Faunus who is known as Roberta. Roberta, the head madam, and sometimes head maid of the Lovelace household. Also, if Johnny Boy wanted to, or any author wanted to, Garcia's wife and or girlfriend. And for those of you who don't know who Roberta is also known as Rosita Cicerinos, I think is my butchered it, but she's also known as the Bloodhound of Florencia. And she is a goddamn... I'm just gonna play some clips. You gotta see this for yourself.
what she's been planning in the jungle or a message for us. No one's getting out of here alive. Sniper team, be careful. She's still headed your way. Shit! Shit. Oh. Fuck these! Come on, you bitch!
Yeah, no, Roberta is literally scary. She is a Colombian Terminator, and she has a very big devotion to the Lovelace family, as well as, literally just scary. She's scary. Very scary. She's just... Oh, God, you do not mess with this maid in pigtails. Very, very scary. Oh my god. Anyway, so basically Roberta shows up in Vale, and the author can basically recreate the whole fucking episode, or at least recreate the whole thing with Lovelace. Because Roberta literally goes on an absolute goddamn tirade, a massacre, literally killing as many people as possible if it means getting back not only her boyfriend, but also the head Lovelace. Mr. Lovelace. Senor Lovelace. And the Vale Police Department can't stop her. Hunters and huntresses have tried to stop her, but they don't. That does not work. It isn't until, of course, Clover literally asks her hostage, who the hell is this woman? And Garcia literally tells her that the Bloodhound is coming, and there's nothing you can do to stop her. Which, again, leads to that lovely little thing of the door literally being bashed in, freaking Red vs. Blue text style, and Roberta giving them a choice. Either they give back Master Garcia, or they die. And, again, Mercury Black, being the smart one out of the two idiots, actually would agree to basically give the kid back to the very scary Bloodhound Faunus, who literally wiped out half of the city's underground. Literally mopped the floor with hunters and huntresses, and just decided that, yeah, no, this is not worth it. I like living. I like being alive. Here you go. We cool. Please don't kill us. Which, again, kind of leads to, you know, basically however the author wants to do this. I mean, again, there is so much that one can do, and before anyone asks, okay, how, if, because I know everyone's going to bring it up, if Perun, the Slavic god of war, basically brought Belike and Herman to Remnant to kind of help be the balance, who brought Garcia and the literal Terminator maid to Remnant, the Bloodhound, the Florencia to Remnant? Choose whatever Aztec god you want, or whatever Hispanic god you want, because, again, one of those things. But in all seriousness, though, the idea has a lot of merit to it, especially when it comes down to more of, basically, hey, Yang messed up, she now works for essentially a crime boss, this happened, that happened, a lot of stuff happened. Blake literally knowing the crime, Tzarina of crime, more or less, and some of her men, the fact that it's because of her that her family actually has the kind of status and power she has, is because of her that literally Saina Khan, Miss Khan, the Tiger Faunus, has the power and literally rank she has. She is the reason why Atlas is always either on the verge of a civil war or fighting a civil war, like the Irish Troubles. Again, there's a lot of elements here that could work. There's a lot of ideas here that could work. And I am sorry if it seems a little rushed. I'm filming this literally a couple of days before Thanksgiving. So I'm trying to basically get this done as quickly as possible, as well as other video content I'm trying to do. But, in all seriousness though, if you like this idea and you'd love to see Johnny actually do it, I will have a link to his Wattpad account down below. Go to his discussions and let him know if you want to see him actually make a Black Lagoon Ruby crossover story. Or, you know, just give him some support in general, because it's one of those things of there's a lot of fun to go around, and it is legitimately fun. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I've been Airsoft Al, and if you want to help support the channel, there are a lot of links down below to where you can actually help us out by checking out those links. You know, the holidays are coming up, and a lot of those links may be something that you may want. And if you want to help out directly, consider donating to the PayPal or Cash App down below. And I will be going to a charity game on the 9th of December to help raise money for a family who sadly lost their spouse and father to a motorcycle accident. I will also be going to a toy drive at Tupelo Airsoft Club on the 16th. So if you guys can come to either one, that'd be great. Links in the description down below as well. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Airsoft Al, and I shall see all you lovely, lovely people in the next video. Till next time, later.